There. Thank you. Well, I know there's a lot of noise in life, and perhaps you had a lot of noise in your life this week, and perhaps a lot of noise awaits you in life. So one of the things I've been trying to do in this Certainly Not series is, at least for a moment, offer some quietness. This may be the only quietness you have this week. So let's come before God and bow our heads. I'll lead us in prayer, but let's bathe in the quietness. Relax your body and feel your body here. Now let me guide your thoughts and prayers this way. I want you to think of a place in your life where you feel utterly alone. And kind of note that and what it is. Maybe it's a relationship, circumstance, something in your career, finances. It's just kind of a lifelong thing. Now I want you to note where you're at a kind of a crossroad or a precipice of your life where you need to actually let go of something, but you're afraid to let it go. Your soul, even your own health in some ways, knows you need to lay this down. But it's hard, and it's scary for you to think of living without it. What is that? And then I want you to note in your faith, specifically, where you're experiencing doubt. You're just not sure. So when it comes to this aloneness and this scary thing to let go ofness and this doubting, in the silence of your soul, I want you to tell God how you feel about it and what you need in it. Go ahead. God, may you be present now as our mind, our hearts, our spirits kind of circumvent these things, the aloneness, the doubt, the letting go. Be here now. Speak to us, Jesus. It's in your name we pray. Amen. You know, being healthy and remaining healthy is an important thing for me. So in my physical health, staying active and working out and eating right is very important to me. But there are things, so my physical health is very important to me. And I actually find the older I get, even in the pastorate, I need to be more physically healthy for it. So I pay attention to that. But there are things that are certainly equal to, but even more important to my health that I also concentrate on. So I pay attention to my spiritual health and my spiritual meditation and intimacy with God and remaining close and noting places that I can trust Him deeper. And so I pay mind to that. And with that, I spend time at it, or I seek pastoral counsel or other mentors, people that help me, and continue to grow in those areas. And then my relational, mental, emotional health is very important to me, because when I'm not mentally, emotionally, and relationally healthy, it affects especially the people I care about the most. So whether I need to see a therapist that can help guide me in remaining emotionally, mentally healthy, whether I monitor with the people I love with them and the intimacy I share with them, places where I can grow healthier. And what I find is paying attention to my health takes just that. I have to pay attention to it. But so many things outweigh that. And I'm not perfect, and I trip and fall, but being healthy is important to me. So I imagine you came here this morning, and in talking about your spiritual health, I imagine you're here because growing in your spiritual health, deepening your spiritual health, evolving and awakening your spiritual health is important to you. So many times over the years, since I'm a pastor, and I guess I'm part of people's spiritual health, I'm not responsible for your spiritual health, but I realize I play a part in it. And so over the years, somebody may say something to me like that: help me or feed my spiritual health. I need you to help feed it. And I get that. But what I've also seen, like anything, all of you are going to eat today. We're all going to eat today. That's different than taking an evaluation of not what fills your belly, but how nutritional is it? Now, that's a different conversation. And I have found that spiritually, too, that many people want to feed their faith, but what is nutritional towards it? Well, goodness, that many people debate that. So in this series, I've been talking about spiritual health and kind of what feeds faith and feeds it in a way that it's nutritional. So how have you fed your faith? Well, as I talk to people, and I've been sharing, there are people that think what I need to feed my faith is belief. And I need to feed it stronger. You'll hear something: I feel like my faith is weak, or I'll feel like my faith needs to be, I want a strong faith. And so many times when you start to get very analytical or forensic about that, kind of like, okay, those are just words, phrases. What are you actually saying? Well, when I come up against something, either doubt or a tragedy or the waves of life beat against me, I want to persevere, and I want to know, I want to be certain I'll make it. So some people feel that what makes their faith healthy is certainty, having certitudes. And so what people will say is, this is what feeds my faith. The more I feed it belief, which is know what I believe, stay strong in what I believe. When the waves come up and beat against and challenge my belief, I'll stay strong in it. And what is the sign that you're strong in it? Well, that I keep standing, but part of standing is it doesn't wane, it doesn't weaken, it's certain. And so many of you have been raised with a certain kind of Christian faith, and people like me in my job helped you, told you that what a healthy faith is more belief and being stronger at your belief. What they've told you is there are a number of things that are unhealthy to it. They could write a number of things, but I'll just list three. That one of the things that definitely is an enemy of your faith is doubt. Another thing that's unhealthy to your faith is death, is to give up and to weaken. And another thing that's unhealthy for your faith is abandon. You know how I don't like to spell publicly. That or grill. I don't like grilling publicly. So some of us, this is how it is. That the strength of your faith is what you believe. You know it. You stay strong in that. And by golly, the sign that you're doing that well is you do it well and you're certain of it. And when all these things, these enemies create doubt and make you feel like giving up or you're alone, oh no, I feel alone, you need to rid yourself of those. So what can happen is, let's just say, life happens. So a tragedy comes in, or you just wander into a cloud. So something happened. And usually what doubt is this feeling of, listen, I thought it would go a certain way. It was supposed to go a certain way. My beliefs were supposed to work, and being certain of it, and another catch word that people like to make more biblical than is biblical, promises. I just need to be very certain of the promises and stay strong at that. But then life happens, and when doubt comes in, we go, oh no, this is wrong. This means my faith is weak. This means my faith is not working. So what I need to do is get it stronger again. I need to get back to normal, a normal faith. What is a normal faith? One that believes and is strong about its belief, and it's certain, and it doesn't doubt or ever feel alone, because God is always there. And I have been saying in this series, I've been presenting a contrarian thesis. That I'm saying you don't have to buy it. I do appeal to your intellectual and spiritual souls to at least consider it. I have no special authority over you. I have no special authority over Christianity or the Bible. I'm a journey person just like you. I recognize I have a specific role. I get that. But I have no authority over you. So I just appeal for you to consider what I'm saying, not telling you I'm right and you have to agree with it, but the contrarian thesis that I've been offering in this Certainly Not series, and based on theologian Pete Enns' book, The Sin of Certainty, is that actually what is unhealthy and what is actually healthy is the reverse. What is unhealthy for your faith is belief and certitude, and what feeds your faith is doubt, death, and abandonment. And what happens in faith is, let's start with doubt. Doubt is an enemy of faith only if you think faith is belief and believing strongly in knowing what you believe and performing your belief and not being weak at belief, if you think faith is that and growing in your certitude, then absolutely doubt is the enemy of that. But what I've been trying to say through this whole series is relating a Hebrew word to you for faith, aman, and the Greek word of faith in its various forms, pisteo or pistis. It does not mean belief or believing in a faith system. It's not a believing in a what. I believe in Christianity. I believe in the Bible. No, what faith means is I trust in a who. I trust in Jesus. So if your faith is belief and certitude, then I get why you freak out at doubt. Because doubt exposes something. But what I want to challenge you with thinking is that doubt exposes the folly, the foolishness of thinking belief, thinking faith is belief. I want to show you some passages from Matthew 16, but before you see it, I want to set it up. Matthew 16 is an interesting event in the scriptures because there's several things that happen. At the start of the chapter, Jesus is in a discussion with guys in my job, professional clergy, the pros, not the people in the pews, the people in the pulpit. And so the guys in the pulpit are trying to take him down, and they don't like him, and they're absolutely trying to be detractors, and Jesus is a disruptor to all of that. And so at one point, they're starting to quote the Old Testament, and they're starting to use the Old Testament for certitude. Certain signs and certain miracles, if those give us certitude. When we see signs and wonders, that will show us God is real. Have you ever been in your own personal situation where you go, God, show me a sign? I have. Do something. Lift my car up. Lift all the cars up in the parking lot just to show me you exist, right? We've all done that. And usually what that is our life has collided with doubt and fear and uncertainty, and what we want is certitude. Show me a sign. And this is the clergy talking about this and are all kind of wonky on this. And look what Jesus says to them. Unfaithful people look for a miraculous sign. He's saying the wrong way to do faith, the wrong way to move your spirituality forward is to say, if you just show me a sign, I'll now believe. What is Jesus exposing? He's exposing the folly of making belief certitudes. And he goes, that's not how faith works. In the middle part of the chapter, Jesus is teaching the throngs of people, and they're listening to him. And at one point, in several different versions of each gospel, some people move in kind of deeper in the circle, but actually the closer Jesus gets to his death, people start walking away. When Jesus is handing out free lunches and doing miracles, people are, we got to see this. But when Jesus is talking that trust is intimacy with God, people start going, I'm out. So specifically in Matthew, it happens in Matthew 10, but I'll show you the Matthew 16 version. It happens in Luke, but here's the Matthew 16 version. Jesus goes up and goes after he says this to the crowds. He goes up to his 12 and goes, who do the people say I am? Who do the people say the Son of Man is? Jesus is saying, who do people think I am? Well, they replied, and we don't know who replied, but someone in the 12 replies, well, some say you're John the Baptist. Some say you're Elijah. You've come back. He was our prophet from years ago, but you're Elijah. Kind of come back. You're Jeremiah. Come back. You're one of our other prophets. You've come back. But really what we're sort of seeing is we don't know. We're kind of uncertain who you are. So Jesus goes, well, who do you think I am? And Peter chimes in. Says, I'll tell you who I think you are. You're the Messiah. You're the Christ. I think you're the Son of the living God. And Jesus turns to him and says, Peter, Simon, Peter, you are blessed because my Father in heaven has revealed this to you. You did not learn this from any human being. You did not learn this from beliefs and certitude. You did not learn this because you're a good Jew, because you followed your belief system, and now you're a new growing Christian. This was revealed to you by my Father. What is Jesus inferring? You have an intimacy with me. You have an intimacy with God. You have a trust and a closeness with me that then this just erupts in your heart. Yes. So we may go, well, that's certitude. And what's amazing, and I'm going to show you this in a moment, the certain Peter in a New York second is about to be uncertain again. That's how faith goes. Doubt is not the enemy of your faith, because faith isn't belief. Faith is trust in God, and doubt is good for that. When you're experiencing doubt, when you are experiencing fear, if you tell yourself it is good for your faith, doubt now has the chance to move you towards trust. Doubt now can be the instigator to move towards God. You don't have to get your beliefs all squared away. You can even be as uncertain. I don't know how this is all going to work out, but I'm moving towards you. You can do that. And so now doubt becomes a good thing. A dose of doubt is good for your faith if it exposes the folly of belief and if it encourages you to move towards God. That's what doubt has done in my life. Many times doubt in my life has forced me to hold on and to grab on. And this is where doubt is a good thing. What doubt also does is, when I look at this, doubt also exposes how we have created God in our image. So what happens in life was supposed to go a certain way. I did the belief good. I held on to the promises. Oh no, when I was weak at that, I have to throw faith and I have to throw doubt away. I have to run away from it because I'm not doing it great. So I need to study the Bible more. I need to know my beliefs more. I need to strengthen myself more. And then boom, life happens and nothing pans out. And so what happens is the way you thought God was supposed to do it, the way you made God in your image, it was supposed to go this way. Doubt exposes all of that. And that is a good thing. If God reveals to us that God is not in your image, and even the image of your belief system, but if God reveals to you the fact that you were utterly out of control and that you need to hold on to him, that is a good thing. And then therefore doubt is a great thing. And I know what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying. David, what about the 16, 17 verses about doubt in the New Testament alone? Isn't that what you're saying? That say we're not to doubt. So it might say don't doubt or let go of your doubt. Well, I just challenge you to read those closer. In most of those verses where doubt is talked about is also the word faith. Now, we've been establishing what the word faith is. Faith is not a belief. So if doubt is your belief system and someone says don't, and then you do, well, you're kind of up creek. But if doubt is a natural part of faith, and faith means trusting in God, I challenge you to read all those verses differently. And whenever you read the verses on doubt, there will usually be the word faith there. And when you put the word faith there, put the word trusting in God. Then see what it says about doubt. And you'll see that we are to take our doubt and move towards trust in him. This is how doubt has changed me. So I don't need to fear doubt. And some of you know people, let's be honest, some of you chucked Christianity or church for a long time. You know somebody that was raised that faith is belief, and then life happened, and then they chucked the whole faith thing because it didn't work. And then somebody told them to believe more and to believe stronger, and you got to be certain, and you got to stand on this. And they just said, I've done that, and I've done it again, and it doesn't work, and I'm done with it. And then some of us in this room know that that's how life works, but we continue to play this old message that faith is belief, and we're tortured by it. Oh, doubt is a great thing. Doubt is a way to move you. Don't freak out in your doubt. Just go, it's part of faith. It's part of life. If you start in Genesis and go to Revelation, every pilgrim in this book experienced doubt. Every single one of them. They weren't chastised because of their doubt. They weren't excommunicated with their doubt. Even when Jesus is going, where's your faith? What he's saying, he's not saying, where's your belief system and why aren't you strong at it? He's saying, trust me. I'm here. Trust me. Where is your trust in me? Move it towards me. So doubt is a wonderful thing. So is death. I want to show you what happens in this verse. So again, he says to the guys in my job, no. In fact, stronger versions will say it's an evil generation. It's a really whacked generation that looks for signs and looks to make their faith certain through signs. So then there's the who do you think I am? Who do they say? Well, we're kind of uncertain, but I'll take a shot. I think you're the Messiah. So Jesus goes, great job, Peter. Your intimacy with God revealed this to you. Now I'm going to share something with you. And look what Jesus shares. From then on, Jesus began to tell his disciples plainly that it was necessary for him to go to Jerusalem. And there he would suffer many terrible things at the hands of the elders and the leading priests and the teachers of the religious law. He would be killed, but on the third day he would be raised from the dead. So Peter, in his certitude, saying, I now trust in you, said, good, we're in. That's not what Peter did. But Peter took Jesus aside and began to reprimand him. Do you know what reprimand means in the original Greek? It means reprimand. Peter bawls Jesus out and says, what are you saying? It's a big major. Right there. And he goes, this is never going to happen to you. We will not have any talk like that. Next slide. Jesus turned to Peter and said, get away from me, Satan. You are a dangerous trap to me. You are seeing things merely from a human point of view and not God's. You are presenting God in your image. You are presenting this certain path in this belief of how you think it should go. And it's not going to go that way. Life happens. And your faith is going to have to encounter the reality of how life is going to go. Then Jesus said to his disciples, if any of you wants to be my follower, folks, right here, we're 2 years in. They have been following him 2 years. And he turns to them, he goes, if any of you wants to be my follower, you must give up your own way. You must give up your own view of things. You must give up the way you view faith and religion, your view of God. You must take a look at your own life and take up your cross and follow me. Now, when Jesus used the term cross, it hadn't become our Christian iconic symbol. It was an instrument of death. So when Jesus was using this, every Jew in first century Palestine, would have seen tons of their countrymen executed on trees and crosses and cruxes. So when Jesus turns to them and says, pick up your cross, they know exactly what he's saying. And he is saying that the only way to life is you're going to have to let things go. You're going to have to let it go. And that's what the letting go of anything is. It is a death. Listen, resuscitation, and I say this often, if somebody goes swimming at the beach, when I was at USC, my roommate was a lifeguard at Huntington Beach all through the school year. He would come in and tell me tales of saving people, amazing. But he didn't tell me one tale. He told me lots of resuscitation tales of guys that were drowned, people that were drowned, and if he did not resuscitate them, they would certainly die. And it was amazing. He'd get them, bring them in, they'd do all that stuff. And So what is resuscitation? When somebody we love is resuscitated, we give thanks. It sobers us. Boy, did they come close. It overwhelms us with how close it was, what could have really happened. We are extremely grateful, and the sense of vulnerability of how it could go gone. It's not a miracle. It's amazing, but it's not a miracle. A miracle is if my lifeguard buddy, that guy was actually dead. Not clinically dead, actually dead. How long's he been in the water? 3 days. And he came right back to life. And so what Jesus is teaching here is the only way to spiritual life is this dying process, which is formed by trust, not by a belief system. I've been often giving this chair and saying there is no vulnerability to believe from where you sit to believe this chair. You have a strong belief that this chair will hold me up and everybody in this room up. But there's nothing in your life vulnerable to that. If you come up and it's a wobbly leg or whatever, and you're uncertain about it and you sit, now you're vulnerable. And so what Jesus is saying is only through through death that we gain life. What does Paul say in Romans, in Galatians, in Ephesians? That we identify with Christ's life through his death. And so whenever you come to any place in your life where you have to let something go, this relationship, this path, this view of God that you have drawn into a box, and I can't imagine letting go of my view of God. I can't imagine letting go of this relationship. I can't imagine letting go of this religion that gives me control. That's why I want beliefs and certitude. I have a religion now of control, and you're actually using God to garner your control. When he turns to them and says, take up your cross, it's utter letting go of control. And so trust always exposes where we control. And this is why the only way to spiritual life is through the letting go, the spiritual death. Last thing. Abandonment. When Jesus dies on the cross, what does he say? My God, why have you forsaken me? Have you ever taken the elevator shaft down of life where you go, I am utterly alone? And so we tell ourselves, because we have a faith that is a belief system and certitude, oh no, he's not there, he's not present. Oh no, he's not there, he's not. So we remind ourselves of these promises to get that to kick in, but it doesn't really kick in. That abandonment and aloneness is the pathway to trusting in him. There isn't one person in this book. Again, you read from Genesis to Revelation. Every pilgrim, every man and woman in this that had dynamic faith, all went through aloneness and abandonment. And when God is at times more silent in this book than he is in present. There are pages and pages and chapters and books after books about God's presence. No, his silence. And what does somebody do in that? Well, if you're a belief system in certitude, it's going to be tough. But if you go, this is the pathway of all faith. Doubt, I move towards. Letting go, I let go and move towards. And when I feel alone, because going through life is feeling alone at times, life happens, I move towards. So I don't need to fear being uncertain. I don't need to fear that, I used to believe that, but now my beliefs are changing. If you're moving in trust, you're moving in trust. Richard Rohr talks about some phases of faith. So first there's order. So you become a follower of Jesus and you have a very orderly world. The belief works, everything works. This is a very clean up faith. I got to clean up, I need to evangelize you to clean up. It's very orderly. It's a part of faith. I'm not saying it's wrong, but it's the youngest part of faith. The challenge is some people go through their whole life with a clean up faith. But then life happens. And what a lot of people do, then there's disorder. nothing, the certitudes, the beliefs don't work. That's why you've seen many of your friends or you have abandoned your faith, because the order didn't work. And you're in this disorder, and you just say, screw it, I'm leaving it. Forgive that for me, but you get it. Just go with the colloquialism. You just say, I'm done with it. But if you hang through that, if your belief is not certitude and a belief system, if it's a trust, you hang through this and you move to a more awakened part of faith, a more evolved part of faith, a more mature part of faith, which is reorder. The unfortunate is many people, many famous authors, many big churches are still here in order. And the whole thing is to believe this, believe that, believe this, don't believe this, don't believe that. And the enemy is doubting all of that. So be strong. And when I talk to people and live my own life, that is not how it works. And that's not being intellectually or spiritually honest. But I don't have to abandon my faith or try to get back to an older faith that doesn't work. I can move forward and awaken to where faith is trust. Oh, may you move in trust. May your faith be relational. May your faith be holding on and moving towards God. May you hang in there through disorder and not abandon it and move forward in the relational world of Christ. May you welcome doubt, welcome death, welcome aloneness, and use those as instigators and encouragers that your faith is working. And now you have the chance to move that trust in Him in those places that are so much part of life. That encourages me, and I've been talking about irony. The irony of this is that actually doubt, death, and abandonment give me hope. And trying to hold on to certitude and belief and growing strong in that just collapses everything. I've spoken too long. God bless you, God bless you, God bless you. May you go in that peace.